Well, the first of what was supposed to be 3 presidential debates was on Tuesday, and while President Trump didn't disappoint, not everyone enjoyed the show.
Clearly, this was the most chaotic presidential debate I've ever seen, and I suspect most of you, if not all of you, have ever seen most chaotic presidential debate, and it will certainly raising a lot of questions about the future of a presidential debate between these two candidates. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if this is the last presidential debate between the President of the United States and the former Vice President of the United States, but we shall see fairly soon.
That was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck. That was the worst debate I have ever seen. In fact, it wasn't even a debate. It was a disgrace. And it's primarily because of President Trump. We'll talk about who won the debate, who lost the debate, but I can tell you one thing for sure. The American people lost tonight because that was horrific.
You just took the words out of my mouth. You used some high-minded language. I'm just going to say it like it is. That was a show.
Show doesn't even begin to describe it.
And, you know, we're on cable. We can say that. Apologies for being maybe a little bit crude, but that is really the phrase that I'm getting, more, from people on both sides of the aisle on text. And it's the only phrase that I can think of to really describe it. And I couldn't agree with you more, Jake.
I think we need to just pause for a moment and say, that was crazy. What was that?
It was a train wreck. But it was a train wreck of the making of one person. I mean, we know who did it. President Trump did this. And in some ways, it's the only way he knows what to do. He bulldozed over the moderator, he bulldozed over Chris Wallace, bulldozed and at times flustered Joe Biden. But I don't know if anybody wouldn't have been flustered by the president's behavior and the president's performance.
Should there be? I mean, there's supposed to be, the vice presidential debate is next. And then there's supposed to be 2 more presidential debates.
I must say, I don't think the country's going to be yearning for another one of these. I think that Biden has a decision to make. You know what'll happen if he says, I'm not going to dignify this with another debate, that the president will attack him for running away from debates. But I'm not sure the country will feel that way, having watched this spectacle.
Well, I, for one, sure hope there's a sequel. And even Joe Biden couldn't help but laugh at some of President Trump's zingers.
Your different approaches has even affected the way that you have campaigned. President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people. Outside, yes, sir, agreed. Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with...
Because nobody will show up.
People with...
Well, it's true. Nobody shows up to his rallies.
All right. In any case, why you holding the big rallies? Why you not? You goes first, sir.
Because people want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
but are you not worried about it
job
spreading
as a
disease?
president, and I'll have 35,000 people show up at airports. We use airports.
Are you not worried about the
we have
disease
a lot of
issues,
people.
sir?
Well, so far, we have had no problem whatsoever. It's outside. That's a big difference, according to the experts.
While President Trump is quick on his feet and original with his comebacks, old Joe had a difficult time with his scripted lines, flubbing them up like this.
Get people the help they need to keep their businesses open. Open schools, it costs a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
Get out of your bunker, says the man living in his basement, and get into the golf course? What? And apparently old Joe got mixed up that you're only supposed to look directly in the camera when you're addressing the American people. Otherwise, you look at the person who you're talking to and having a debate with. It was supposed to be a debate between President Trump and Joe Biden, but it turns out that Chris Wallace did most of the debating for Joe.
So my question, sir, is what is the Trump health care plan?
Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised. Let me just tell you something.
But while old Joe was laughing along with the rest of us at President Trump's jokes, Chris Wallace was not.
It's a very important
Try to be
question.
honest.
He stood up.
No,
He stood up
the answer to
and
the
he
question is no.
Ukraine.
No, sir.
With $1 billion, if you
that
don't get rid of
is
the press.
absolutely
you know what, you're
not
stop.
true.
Tape doing it.
You're going to
You're on
have
tape.
True.
Gentlemen. I hate to raise
Chris,
my voice,
he's
but I
on
see it seems
tape.
to be, why shouldn't I be different than the two of you? So here's the deal.
Good point.
We have.
He didn't seem to be enjoying himself at all. There shouldn't even be a moderator. Just have the two candidates sit down in an empty room together for 2 hours and let us watch what happens. And when Chris Wallace wasn't debating President Trump on Old Joe's behalf, Old Joe was refusing to answer basic questions, like whether or not he would pack the Supreme Court with liberal justices if, God forbid, he wins.
You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now.
Are you going to pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're
to answer that
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the question
You want to put a lot
is
of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is your,
up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
right.
Gentlemen,
This is-
I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the court.
We have
I'm not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
After the debate, Kamala Harris also refused to answer the same question.
I will respectfully note that you also declined to answer that question with me, Senator Kamala Harris. I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you so much.
Good to be with you, Jake. Thanks for the question.
All right, yeah.
Even Jake Tapeworm can't believe that neither Biden nor Harris will go on record about whether or not they'll pack the Supreme Court. Chris Wallace did his best to protect Old Joe from having to answer questions, but that didn't stop President Trump from continuing to ask them.
He doesn't have any law support.
Look,
he has no law enforcement
that's not
support.
true.
Almost
That's
nothing.
look.
Oh, really? Who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go
Look,
ahead.
look.
Think. We have time.
We don't have time to do
No,
anything.
think
So
about
listen,
it.
look,
Name
folks,
one law enforcement group that came out and
I
supported
think, gentlemen,
you.
I think I'm going to take back the
There
moderator's
aren't. I don't
role,
think there
and
are
I want,
any.
and I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of protest.
Yes, let's just change the subject, Chris, instead of allowing Old Joe to continue to embarrass himself.
You were a senator. And
You're
by
the
way,
worst
you were a
president
vice-
America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe. I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe. We've done things that you never even thought of doing,
Okay,
including
gentlemen.
fixing the broken military that you gave me, including
let's-
taking care of
we're
your
talking,
vets.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. I'd like to ask you about your plans going forward, because
The plan going forward is to make America great again, Chris. That should be obvious. And if you want to help spread the word and support my channel, order your limited edition Trump Silver Silhouette shirt, the gold Trump 2020 shirt, or the red MAGA Country shirt from my online store at markdice.com, or click the link in the description below. They're only available through Sunday, so be sure to get your orders in, and then next week they'll print and ship out. These are the ones that are made with the special reflective paint and look absolutely stunning in the light. So head on over to my online store at markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.